Hey there, everybody. My name is Gabriel. This is Devotionables, brief devotions for busy people, coming to you today from Psalm 36. Let's go. Now, Psalm 36, wonderful psalm. It can be characterized as a number of things. It starts as a lament, transitions into a hymn, then transitions into a prayer. This is a psalm of David, and he begins talking about the wicked. And as I was thinking about it, it's easy to look at the wicked and to sometimes wonder, Lord, are you really going to judge them? Will there be justice for your people? It seems like that they're prospering, that their life is good, and we could be tempted to maybe go their way, right? Sometimes I'm driving a car or when just taking a walk, and I notice this with my children a lot, and they're young, right? But you start to drift in the direction to which you are looking. Whatever has your gaze, you begin to go toward that. And so I try to tell my girls, pay attention, right? When you're in the car, I gotta get back in my lane, right? Because you start looking, something caught your attention, you begin to go that way. And so you can begin to look at the wicked. Like, man, I'm trying to live for God, and this is a hard life. It doesn't seem like anything's going right. God, what is going on here? God calls us back to look to Him. So there's this lament. Transgression speaks to the wicked deep in his heart. There is no fear of God before his eyes. That's verse 1. And that reminds us of Psalm 14. So back in Psalm 14, we read this. This is how that psalm begins. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They do abominable deeds. There is none who does good. He also reminds us of how the Psalms began, right? Psalms 1 and 2. We're supposed to, in fact, the entirety of the Psalms should be read through the lenses of Psalm 1 and Psalm 2. Psalm 1 is the contrast between the blessed man who does not take, counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers, but his delight is on the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. The wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. That's the truth. That's what God has said about it. And yet sometimes in our life we can look around and it can seem like there's just wickedness everywhere. And maybe they're not really being punished right now. And so for the God's people, we find ourselves drifting. And so I would say what Psalm 36 calls you to is to lift your gaze higher. Lift your gaze beyond, because even though it looks like the wickedness is everywhere, it's not. There's a finite amount of it. But there's an infinite amount of God's loyal love, His hesed. That's what David says. And this is the part that turns into a hymn in Psalm 36. Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, right? It can't be contained. Your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mountains of God. Your judgments are like the great deep. Man and beast you save, O Lord. How precious is your steadfast love, O God. The children of mankind take refuge in the shadow of your wings. Refuge. Circle that word. Write down here. Write down this reference. Psalm 2:12. Again, reading the Psalms through the lenses of Psalm 1 and Psalm 2. At the very end of Psalm 2, verse 12, blessed are all who take refuge in you. Who's the psalmist talking about? Who's David talking about? Well, the anointed one, the Messiah, our Lord Jesus Christ. If you take refuge in Him, you are blessed, and you have a safety. You are in the shadow of His wings. The psalm ends, these final verses, 10, 11, and 12, with a prayer. Verse 10 says, Oh, continue your loyal love, your hesed, your faithfulness, your steadfast love to those who know you, and your righteousness to the upright of heart. We'll read 11, 12. Let not the foot of the arrogant come upon me, nor the hand of the wicked drive me away. There the evildoers lie fallen. They are thrust down, unable to rise. A prayer. Lord, keep your steadfast love on me. Let me see it. Don't let me be tempted to go the way of the wicked, but to follow you. So Psalm 36, the Lord speaks to us like a father, like a mother, comforting, trying to get the attention in a distracted, dangerous world, gets down on the knees. Look at me, son. Look at me, daughter. Come here. I got you. So God looks at us and says, come, take refuge in me. Trust in me. I will judge the wicked. There will be justice. Take refuge in me. May the Lord bless you and keep you today.